Well, folks, in today's video, we're in Merrickville, Ontario, and we're going to be going to one of my favorite train stores, Larkspur Line Limited. Now, I really like visiting the store around this time of the year because they have a Boxing Day to New Year's sale where everything in the store is either 15 or 20% off, so it can really be a good opportunity to get some good deals going. Plus, it's also an excuse to go to the hobby shop, so I'm certainly not going to complain about that. Anyway, let's head inside and see what they've got in store.
I got you here is this one, the Atlas GT40 consignment.
As is with just about every train store I visit, the consignment section is one of my favorite areas to check out, and I find you do usually see some turnover here. There's always a few new pieces. There are some classics which have been here for a while now, but it's always just worthwhile having a quick look, because sometimes you find something really special that somebody's worked very hard on, and it's not going for a lot of money. I can remember back when I was a kid finding a caboose in this section. It was built out of wood. Somebody had definitely put some effort into it, and it was going for like $5. So yeah, it's always worthwhile. Anyway, you can see right here they've got this Canadian Pacific B unit. And on this next layer, there didn't seem to be anything too special, but I did really like this vintage Pepsi Cola box car. I don't know, it's very unrealistic, but I really like the kind of unusual stuff, and you do find those types of things quite often here. So that's pretty much it for this part of the consignment section. Why don't we go around and check out some of the other areas? It looks like the store did get some new passenger cars, although they were mixed in with a whole bunch of other ones, which I believe I've seen before. But as I've said, you gotta really dig through this stuff just to be sure there's nothing special. You know, there have been times where there's been something kind of nice hiding. In this case, it all seemed to be pretty common. There were a fair amount of different road names, so if somebody was looking for some budget used rolling stock, it certainly wouldn't be bad, but personally, there wasn't really anything that I was too excited about in this section. Having said that, over here in the locomotive section, there were some things which I was quite curious about. They had some unusual stuff like this old metal German steam locomotive. Really was not expecting to see that. I think it was made by Fleischmann, if I'm correct. Next, they had this old Bachmann locomotive. It's missing its front wheels, so it was being sold as a discount engine. You can see right here they have this old Mantua Tycho. I suspect at some point this would have been sold as part of a kit. It's missing some parts, but it is being sold for $16. They had this engine right here, which is an old band-driven Athearn locomotive. Looked to be in decent condition. Below that, they had this locomotive. I think this was possibly another German one, mimicking an American locomotive. I'm not 100% sure. I don't recall ever seeing one before. Apparently it runs. And then over here, they had this locomotive right here. I think this is another Athearn one. Definitely one of their more vintage production models. They had this Tycho CN model. This thing was in kind of rough condition. At least it was missing a lot of its truck covers, so that one would definitely need some restoration. Here's another Bachmann locomotive. Seems to be fully intact. They had this Go FP40. This thing is apparently in kind of rough running condition, but my buddy actually bought it just so we could use the shell for another project. They had this Roco dummy locomotive. I see a lot of Roco dummy products. I don't know if people just haul the motors out, but it's pretty common. And then they also had this kind of unusual locomotive, which I believe is also German. It wouldn't be a full tour around the store if I didn't show the train at least once. I have shown this thing quite a few times, so I won't show the entire trip around the layout, but I do always like seeing it. Anyway, on to some other stuff. I've been on the hunt for tunnel portals for the layout, and they happen to have quite a few. I don't know if these were here in previous visits. They probably were, and I just never noticed, but I decided to go through here and just have a look. As you can see, they've got this one in a box, and then they had a whole bunch of these other ones just kind of miscellaneous. I think these were all definitely part of a layout at one point. You can see a lot of the material still stuck to them. But they're being sold at a discount, and I kind of like how they all look. I don't know. It was enjoyable to go through. Here's their selection of new locomotives. On top of that, they've also got some used buildings. Like you got this little bank right here. I kind of liked that one. This engine also sort of caught my eye too. It's a little switcher locomotive from Broadway Limited. I don't really know anything about it, but I don't remember seeing it here in a previous visit. In their display case, they definitely did have some new locomotives. Some of these I think I actually did see that time where I went digging through that box of used DCC locomotives here, so it was nice to see some of those in the display. Same goes for the other side of the display. As you can see, they definitely have some new stock over here. I always like just having a quick look over this section, just to be sure there aren't any new deals hiding. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the tour. Now on to what my haul finally was. Well, I'm now obviously home. It was really quite a fun trip to Larkspur Line, and I actually got to visit Smith Falls after and do some rail fanning, so that was quite a nice time. But anyway, I did end up buying some stuff at Larkspur Line, so I'll show you guys all of what I decided to buy. The first thing I got was a whole bunch of different switches. These are all used, which I don't really recommend buying used switches. I find they usually have a lot of problems, but they all look to be in pretty good shape, and furthermore, they're going to be for the new layout, so, you know, they're not mainline switches, so I don't think buying them used is going to be a big deal, and they were a huge savings, so I decided to buy those. Also, for the new layout, I decided to buy a whole bunch of different tunnel portals, all slightly different, but I like every single one of these. And some of them, like this one, you know, they're being sold for like $2.50 a piece. Really did not seem like too bad a deal to me. So yeah, a whole bunch of tunnel portals. And then finally, there was this one locomotive in the used section which really caught my eye. I don't know what it was about this engine, but I really wanted it. And it's a German engine of some kind. I don't know anything about it. It was in fact built in Germany. Apparently it needs some work. I don't really know what that means specifically, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought it looked like a nice little engine. It says 1968 on the side. I'm not sure if that's the number or the year build date, but I don't know. It just seemed like a nice little engine. Why don't we unwrap it and take it over to the track now? I still don't entirely know why the store wraps these things up, but it is kind of fun taking the wrapping off and seeing in better detail whatever it is you bought. Anyway, let's get that plastic wrap off of there. Looks like there's a little bit of damage to that part there, but yeah, it overall doesn't look to be in terribly bad condition. Nice. I'm really curious what the working condition of this locomotive is. Let's try giving it some power here. Not much. Huh. Well, they were not lying. It really does need work. I don't think this is an AC locomotive, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, you know, maybe that's a pickup shoe there. I don't entirely know, to be honest with all of you. Well, I had a quick look over this thing, and I really can't tell right off the top of my head what's wrong with it, so it looks like we are going to have to crack it open at some point, but it is a bit of a strange locomotive. Like, it's got this component right here. I have no idea what that thing is for, so it's definitely a lot different from most of the stuff I work on, so it should be a fun project at some point, but yeah, for now, that's all it is. Well, folks, that's going to be about it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed, and with that, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching.